Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about 7 things that you can do to save money on your custom home build. All right, like I said, today we're going to cover 7 things that you can do to really help save some money whenever you build your custom home. As you can see today behind me, a little bit snowy outside, so we're going to be talking to you from inside the nice warm house here up in Black Forest, Colorado. Number one thing that you can do to save money comes at the very beginning, and it's the lot, the location that you decide to purchase. Now, whether you buy it from the builder helps you acquire a property that's maybe outside of their inventory, or maybe you already have a piece of property that maybe it was in the family, or you bought previously, kind of thinking you might want to build down the road. Whatever the case is, that specific lot, there's going to be a lot of potential cost associated with the lot. We're not just talking about lot acquisition price. We're talking about the specific lot and building the home on it. If you have a lot that, it's got rocky soil, maybe you have extra excavation costs, things of that nature. There's a lot of different things that are going to go into the specific lot that you buy, how easy it is to build on, and also location too. If your lot is way out in the middle of nowhere, typically builders are going to charge a little bit more for those the extra logistics, the extra travel time for their trades, whatever it might be. So if you have a very remote location, probably going to expect to pay a little bit more. And also, like I said, if that lot is just a difficult one to build on, you get the lot that's on the side of the mountain, that costs a whole lot more to build on than it does if it's in the middle of the prairie. So just think about that ahead of time as you're identifying a lot, you're doing that evaluation process, getting ready to purchase a lot. Definitely ask a builder to be involved in that process if you've already selected a builder, or at least have someone with a lot of knowledge in that aspect of it help you with the land acquisition as well. Cannot emphasize that enough. You can really shoot your budget in the foot right off the bat if you get a bad lot, or if you have a location that's just going to be really difficult for a builder to get to. So number one, the lot, location, that whole land purchase piece. Number two kind of goes along with that a little bit, but there's a few different variables that I want to kind of explain. And I mentioned excavation earlier. That's a big one. So we kind of talk about that, kind of before we even get the home really the build started. We've got to do excavation. We've got to make sure we can get utilities in. We've got to get a driveway put in. So, if you have a lot, and the ideal spot, perfect in your mind, is to have the house set way back away from the road, kind of at the back corner of the property, just realize that that's going to add a lot of cost when it comes to utilities and for driveway. And there's a lot of different factors there. If you're it's in a custom home community, maybe you have to have a concrete driveway or a blacktop driveway. Those costs get really expensive as those driveways get longer. If it's a more rural area, maybe you can just have a gravel driveway, save some costs there. But that driveway cost or the distance, that's a big factor for sure. And like I said, also utility costs. So, we're talking electrical lines are probably going to have to be taken farther depending on where you put the home on the lot. So usually utilities are typically at the road. So closer to the road, you're going to save utility costs. And we're talking electrical, natural gas, if that's what you're using in your area. Those are usually the two big ones. And then if there is already an existing well on the property, you don't want to get too far away from where the wellhead is, because it's going to be extra cost to get the water lines run over to the house. And then, as I mentioned, excavation too. So, if you have a flat lot, but you want to make it a walkout lot, you've got to move a lot of dirt to make that happen. You're going to have retaining wall costs, things of that nature. So really just trying to design and plan that home so that it fits naturally with the lot that you've selected. Again, one of the most difficult and expensive things is trying to put a walkout home, a walkout basement on a lot that just doesn't naturally fit it. So excavation cost, the driveway cost, and utility cost. That's another big one, that just by putting your home on a specific section of the lot, the land that you've purchased, you can save yourself a lot of money. Now, I always say, hey, if you want your house way on the back part of the lot to make sure you get all the privacy that you want and kind of what you dreamed about, at least explore that option for sure. But just understand that it's going to cost more, and that's certainly a savings you can have if you move that location, maybe a little, maybe a little bit closer to the road. So that's number two. Number three, this is kind of a broad topic, but I kind of wrap it up in accomplishing a similar look through smart design. And there's I'll just give a couple examples of that. A lot of people, they, here in Colorado, a lot of people want that mountain modern, so big rustic beams mixed with metal, things of that nature. So when we're talking about the interior design of a house, especially, we can probably accomplish a lot of the same looks with like a fake or a faux beam. Looks just like wood once it's all stained up. It's really, really hard to tell the difference even for if you do it every day. And especially if it's a beam that's, on a 10-foot ceiling, it's not like you're staring right at it 2 inches away. So trying to find those things that you can do as you go through the design process of the house and really try to figure out a way where you can maybe save a little bit, excuse me, with just the design of the house to accomplish the same look. Like I said, so if you want that modern look, kind of that rustic mountain modern look, those things that kind of don't really go together whenever you say them out loud, but it is a trend right now where you have the rustic mountain look mixed with some modern touches of, like I said, maybe some exposed metal, things like that. Just trying to think through how we can design a house where you accomplish that look, but you minimize those really expensive items. So maybe you can minimize the amount of steel beam that you have on the exterior of the home, but enough of it that it still gives that look. So when you look at the house, you love the look of it, but maybe it's not quite exactly what the original plan looked like. There could be some cost savings there. It's the same thing on the wood timbers. Maybe you can have, instead of the whole front entry in front of the house all timber framed, maybe you can have the front porch timber frame, but then maybe some of the other portions of the front roof line, maybe they're not timber, maybe they're sided or they're wrapped, cedar wrapping instead of actual whole timber beams. Sometimes there can be a cost savings there. So you just have to work through those details with your builder and with your design team. But definitely, I feel there's a lot of cost savings that can be had. You can accomplish a very, very similar, if not the exact same look at the end of the day by trying to be smart about those design elements. So don't overspend. Think that you have to overspend just to accomplish a specific look. You can probably do it with a little bit lower budget. Now, everybody has their own preferences, so it's not going to be the case for everybody, but a lot of folks are able to do that. So that's a third one, is being able to accomplish a real similar look through some smart design aspects. All right, number 4 then. This would be identify large expenses. So whenever you're going through the design process for the house, there are going to be some line items that are going to add a lot of cost to the house that maybe or maybe don't add enough style. They don't give you enough style points to make it worth it. Kind of wraps in a little bit with the last one with smart design, but this is more just making decisions. So I'll use one for personal example for myself. Some of you may have heard me tell this before, but whenever my wife and I designed our house, for us, really for my wife mainly, and I'm really happy we decided to do this, a steep roof was really important. It just fit the look that we wanted with our house. So our house, all the roof lines, they're all 12-12 pitch, so pretty steep roof. Now the problem with that is that you have more material, your trusses are going to cost more, you have more sheeting, you have more shingles, and your framer's probably going to charge you a premium to frame that roof system, and your roofer is definitely going to charge you a premium to put the final roofing product on, whatever it is, be it metal or shingles, whatever it might be. So a steep roof is one of those items that for a lot of people, it's kind of what gets sketched up and it's what they have in their mind, but it's really not that big of a difference to them at the end of the day. So they decide, you know what, instead of doing the 12-12 pitch, let's just do a 9-12 or a 6-12 pitch. So not quite as steep of a roof. You're going to save cost on material, definitely going to save cost on labor, and it still gets you the look that you wanted at the end of the day. So that's just an example of taking a large line item, or maybe a couple line items that a lot got added to because of the specific style, and then trying to walk that back and decide if you really need that, or if you're fine with just another option that might be a lot less, still get you the same look at the end of the day. Another one that's really big here in Colorado is siding. Siding type, as far as the cost of it, seems to vary a lot throughout the country. Here in Colorado, stucco is actually one of the less expensive options, where in other parts of the country, it's one of the more expensive options, and wood siding is a less expensive option. So here in Colorado, if you want like a lap board, kind of a farmhouse style siding, or especially board and batten, those products, material and labor, are going to be a little bit more expensive than if you did stucco. So what we do in a lot of homes is we just kind of mix those together. If somebody says we really want all siding on the house, they get that line item on the budget and say, oh man, we got to try to work this down a little bit. Can we do something about that? You can take that large line item of siding, exterior finish of the house, and you can probably figure out a way to mix in some less expensive options. Maybe it's, the front part of the house is one and then the back is a different, or maybe it's mixed in where some pop outs on the house where big sections of the house move out from the kind of the main line. Maybe those are stuccoed, or maybe those are sided and the rest is stuccoed. So you can definitely work through those items. And like I said, just identify big, large expenses and then take a hard look at that and see if you're going to accomplish and everything's going to look the way you want it at the end of the day by changing those to maybe it's a different product or whatever it is. Maybe it's a different design element. But definitely find those big line items and see if you can make an adjustment there. Now, some of them you're just not going to be able to, right? Like the foundation kind of is what the foundation is. But for those ones where you can make a change, just take a look at them and see if it's something that you could do. Definitely some cost savings to be had on those large expenses, those large line items. All right, this is one that the next one, I think this will be number 5. This is one that I think is still true to the most part. We definitely see this being the case is building up is typically less expensive than building out. So, if you want a 4,000 square foot house and you say, I want it all slab on grade. This is like a real popular kind of a Texas farmhouse, Texas ranch house where it's just a big sprawling one level house. That's going to be more expensive than if you said, hey, let's do it on 2 stories. Let's have a 2,000 square foot footprint, but then build up for a second level for another 2,000 square feet. Or maybe you split it between a basement, a main level, and then an upper. There's a lot of ways you can kind of vary the layout of the home to save some cost. Now, some people just say, hey, I don't want any stairs in my house. I want it all on one level, and I'm willing to pay that premium. And if that's the case, then that's fine. Just realize that's going to come at a cost. Some people just say, I really don't care. I just need X number of bedrooms. I don't mind if I have stairs. I like the looks of 2 stories and ranch homes, so it really doesn't make that big a difference to me. So definitely evaluate those options with your builder and just see if you're spending a lot more money to have it all on one level or a main level and a basement, or if it's going to make more sense to maybe go up above grade and just have, maybe it's a partial second story so the exterior design looks roughly the same, but you do have some space on the second level of the house. So building up, not out, typically less expensive. Definitely something to consider unless you're just really, really set on a specific layout for your house. Again, I'll use my own example here that my wife and I, we 100% wanted a ranch home. It really wasn't a question for us, or it wasn't an option. So we knew we were paying a little bit more to kind of just build that ranch home with a basement versus splitting it up into 2 stories. So building up, not out, definitely take a look at that one too. Number 6, alternative finishes and material. So this one kind of ties back in with what we talked about with accomplishing the similar look with different design elements. This is really kind of thinking about specific materials. So what I mean by that is you might say you want a gray slate tile in your entryway. Slate tile might have a price of, hypothetically say it's $10 a foot. You might be able to find a really, really nice gray slate-like look, porcelain or ceramic tile, and maybe it's $5 a foot. So really trying to think through those specific materials, not design elements, but materials, and really try to work through those and see if there's any way you can save some money by using a product that's the end state look at the end of the day is very, very similar, but it just comes at a much lower price point. And this is something that like our in-house design team certainly helps all of our clients with. And I know most quality builders have a designer on staff that help their folks through this process. But this is a big one, especially, you kind of, when you get excited about the design of the house and picking out materials and everything, sometimes your budget kind of is a secondary side thought, but you've really got to have that at the forefront if you want to stick to your budget at the end of the day. And like I said, there's a lot of great materials out there that can accomplish the exact same look, in my opinion, maybe the exact same look and a better product at the end of the day. One thing we do a lot of is LVP, luxury vinyl planking. So, back up 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, it was like Pergo was kind of one of the names that you would hear associated with like a laminate wood flooring. It didn't look like wood. There was nobody was tricked by what that stuff was. But now some of the luxury vinyl planking, we see it in multi-million-dollar homes. We install it in a lot of homes. It looks very, very much like real wood, and it's actually a lot more durable than what real wood is. It's a more durable, longer lasting product. So just thinking through those alternative finishes and material. Can you get a faucet that costs $100 versus one that costs $300, but it accomplishes the same look and it's still a good quality product that your plumber's, going to warrant and is going to put that product in the house. So thinking through the materials and specific interior finishes, you can save a lot of money there and still honestly have the exact same look or just about at the end of the day. All right, the last one, this is one people don't really think about, but in the custom home world, this can become a very, very large bill at the end of the day, and it's appliances. So this is one where we've had clients with an appliance budget of close to $100,000 just for appliances. And then we have other people that put in a very nice appliance package for $12,000 to $15,000. Huge variation here. If you've looked into building a custom home at all, if you kind of, you jump on Pinterest or whatever it might be, you definitely will see a lot of pictures of like a Viking range, Sub-Zero refrigerator, just a really, really nice high-end appliances. And those are great products. I will never say they're not wonderful products, but a Viking range, a 6-burner gas cooktop with an electric double oven underneath it, that kind of slide-in range. For Viking, I don't know, you might pay 20 plus, you probably will pay over $20,000 for it, or very close. But maybe there's another product that gives you, again, a very similar look, really good functionality that's at a lot lower price point. I know we've had clients, we have these appliances myself, they're called Monogram, made by GE. Very similar look to some of the Viking and Sub-Zero products, but at a more competitive price point. Still not, I won't call them cheap by any means, but they are much less than kind of that top tier. Some people just absolutely love to cook, and they say the stove, that is one of the most important things in my house, and I'm not sacrificing on that. And that's fine. Just realize if you're trying to save some money, trying to kind of whittle the budget down a little bit, take a hard look at your appliances, because there may be another appliance by another manufacturer that looks almost the exact same. Maybe you have to do a little bit of cabinet redesign as you're going through that appliance selection and kind of that kitchen layout. Maybe you decide, you know what, I really want that 6-burner stove, but that 4-burner, that's going to be plenty for myself and my family. Do I use the double wall oven? Do I just use one of them? Do I need the 4-foot fridge? Whatever it is, just really think through those appliances, because appliances have definitely gotten more expensive in the last couple of years. Prices have kind of shot up, supply and demand issues. And also, that's something that typically nowadays, we definitely do this. Builders will order appliance packages almost right off the bat, because there's such a long lead time for them to make sure we have them ready to put in the house a year later. We have to get those ordered really early on. So it's a big decision that you're going to have to make probably sooner than you would expect you would have to make. So definitely think through the appliances. You can have a big, I mean, I'm talking, 5-figure cost savings just by the type of appliances that you select to put in the home. And I really do think you can have a very, very luxury custom home feel with appliances that are a little, that are kind of that mid-level, below the top tier of the Vikings and Sub-Zeros. Like I said, wonderful products if you like them. I'll never say anything bad about them, except for they're pretty darn expensive. So appliances, that would be the last one. So just to recap real quick, the lot, man, that first decision you make about where am I going to build this house at, that can have a big impact on your budget for sure. The placement of the home on the lot, as we think about utilities, driveway, excavation costs, things of that nature. Trying to find some ways to accomplish a similar look through smart design, save some money on some of those, big design elements. We mentioned real timber, real steel beams, exposed, things of that nature. Trying to find those big line items like a steep pitch roof or maybe a specific siding type you like. Find those big line items and see if there's an alternative that may accomplish the same thing for you. Building up, not out. I think that's still the case in most parts of the country. We certainly see that. Less expensive typically to build up. So think about that one if you're open to the look of the exterior of the home. Alternative finishes on the inside of the house and material. Find a material that's going to give you a very similar look, if not the exact same look, at a better price point. And then the last one was appliances. You can certainly save a lot of money and still have extremely nice appliances in your custom home. So those are the 7 things. Those are 7 things. Let's face it, there's a lot more than 7, but those are 7 things right off the bat that I would certainly take a look at as I'm trying to think of ways I can save money on my custom home build. Guys, if this is good information for you, if it's beneficial, maybe you're thinking about building a custom home, maybe you're about to start the process or thinking maybe in a couple years you might, take the time, subscribe to the channel. Love to have you guys subscribe. We put out new content every week. Hit the little bell so you get all the notifications so you know when we put out new info. And like I said, just whatever we can do to help you out, reach out, call, text, email. We are here in the Colorado Springs area, build across all the state of Colorado. If you're in the area looking to build a custom home, we'd love the opportunity to see if we're a fit for you. Take care.